Hi, welcome to Happy Tales. I'm Cheryl Rosenthal, Communications and Education Coordinator.
And I'm Joni Geiger, Executive Director.
And Joni, today we have a special guest. We have Adam Schechner joining us. He is our dog trainer dog handler / pet care technician.
Why don't you help her out there, Adam?
Yeah, jump in anytime.
You got it great.
I got it fine. And we're going to be talking about a lot of different things today. We're going to be doing some demonstrations on dog socialization. We're going to do a dog mix. You're going to tell us how you got started in
Why
working with dogs.
Why don't you tell us where you work, what you do, and how you got involved in that?
Okay. I work currently and have been for about 6 years at Clever Canines in Kaukauna. And we're a boarding, daycare, training, retail, grooming facility, pretty much do it all. So I work on the boarding end pretty much in daycare, doing stuff like dog mixes, playing with dogs, and then of course feeding, medicating, cleaning.
Lots of stuff that we do here.
A lot of stuff that we do here,
All the same
exactly.
things, okay.
A lot of the same stuff, except we do a lot of playtime with dogs, and these dogs, fortunately, all have great homes, and they get to go home at night to a wonderful home. So it's great to see.
But even though they come from wonderful homes, sometimes I imagine you do see dogs coming in that have some, I don't want to say problems,
Issues?
but have some difficulty adjusting to a situation
Correct.
like that, or aren't used to being thrown in the pot with so many different dogs.
Correct. We have a multitude of dogs. We have what we call DWI, which is dogs with issues, and we welcome those to a certain extent. And we do what we call an eval, which you guys also do, and see how the dog interacts with both staff and also with other dogs, and also in its kennel or suite, and how they do there. So if the dog doesn't like to be with a million dogs, we're not going to put it with a million dogs. If it needs to be with a small group, we'll do that.
That's pretty cool.
Just like you would
That's
do here.
pretty cool.
So it's kind of, again, meeting the needs of the dogs while they're
Correct.
at the daycare center.
Yes, correct.
And then do you ever give helpful information to the dog owner, that things that they can do to strengthen their dog as far as some of these areas, to get them a little bit more socialized?
Yes. When we do our eval, we actually send home a sheet, and that sheet lists things that we did throughout the day, how the dog interacted, and we have 3 columns that says that the dog is good, or it needs work, or it failed in this area. And just because they failed 1 or 2 of those doesn't mean the dog can't come to daycare. It just means that the person needs to work, whether they need to attend
I have
classes
to admit,
or whatever.
I mean, doggy daycare has really gotten quite sophisticated. It is not just like throwing a bunch of dogs together and just, everybody fend for themselves. I mean, it really is something that you have to be very experienced at. You have to be able to read body language. You have to be very good at what you're doing, because obviously the dogs are, there can be issues. There can be
Correct.
problems between dogs. So I think that's important. One of the things that you and I discussed earlier, and we talked about the importance of socialization. How important that is for people to socialize your dog. So why don't you touch on about that, and why you see what you see and what you would recommend people to do?
Okay, I'll give an example. I have a dog that we'll meet later that was not socialized as a puppy, and now she'll go up to people and bark. She's got some fear of people, unfortunately, even if the person is the best, sweetest person in the world, like Joni, or he runs up and still barks at the person. It just doesn't matter. She was kept as a puppy. She was fearful of people then, so they put her in an extra bedroom when someone came over.
Yeah.
And
Did just what they
when she
shouldn't
was
do.
older, she was too far gone for an average dog handler as a pet, and so she came to me, and she's come a long ways. In daycare, we see dogs that just have never seen another dog before, maybe, or have never been around. Like, for instance, I'm the only male that works there. My interaction with a dog, or the dogs, is a lot different than the interaction that the females get with dogs. So there's so many different things that you should be surrounding your dog with. Everything you can possibly think of. When your dog's a puppy, start right away and start socializing. I think it's very important.
Well, I tell people when I work with people, and if they have that opportunity, there's a really critical time for puppies, and that's between 4 weeks and 16 weeks.
Yes.
What they're exposed to at that point in time really does make a difference on the kind of adult dog they'll be, because they're very impressionable. It's really important that they get a lot of different stimuli, you know, as far as like people and other animals and all kinds of things. And so it's really, really important because it does make a difference.
Right, and it needs to be positive. I mean,
Oh,
you
yeah,
shouldn't
absolutely.
be
Yes, always
It shouldn't be
always
forced.
positive.
Yeah, exactly.
Never
Good.
force the dog to do something, but isolating the dog just increases that fear, because
Correct.
it's like, well, there must really be something to be afraid of because you're putting me away to keep me safe.
Yes.
And then now I'm exposed to people, and now I'm confronted
Yes.
with that, and I'm fearful.
And I don't want you to get me wrong, these people that had her were
yeah. Well,
exceptionally
people-
nice,
oh, sure.
but it is a lack of knowledge, and hopefully we're here to help with that.
Yeah,
Right,
absolutely.
Right. It's all
I
about
agree.
information. You know, I'm sure all of us, with our first dog, there are things that we did with our first dogs that we would never repeat again, because we found out later that it wasn't okay thing to do, but it wasn't the best thing to do for
Yes,
the dog.
exactly.
So
is
it's a
this-
matter of learning.
Is this kind of how you got into the business? I mean, is that?
Yes, that same dog was the one that actually got me saying, okay, I need to learn more about dogs. I have a border collie that's about 9 or 10 now, and she is just an easy dog. I don't have to worry about anything. We don't have to go out on a leash if I don't want to. I can do whatever I want. But I thought, okay, well, maybe they're all like that. And I learned way different. Maggie is a challenge every day. Even after having her for 7 years, she still every day challenges me in some sense of the manner. So I thought I needed to get further involved, and that's when I started getting involved with Clever Canines, and then slowly progressed from there.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, I very often, I think all of us who are in animal welfare or in the kind of work that you do, I mean, it is a labor of love. It really, because trust me, you don't come in for the money, because there isn't. So, but it really is something that you're very passionate about and you really care about and you want to make a difference.
Yep, you have to be, because
Yeah.
there's just
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
what training have you had, or what have you done to increase your knowledge?
most of my training is through Clever Canines. I've gone to a lot of seminars, so on and so forth.
Working with other dog professionals?
Correct. Nita Wolf, if the name is familiar to anybody, she is very good. We've done a lot of. She does a lot of dog and dog interaction type stuff over the years in training, and we also big into confidence building, which Maggie has done as well. And that confidence building leads to a very happy and socialized dog. So I've done a lot of seminars. Also, I have a few dogs of my own that are DWIs. And I learn a lot every day from them, and I've made mistakes. I admit that, and that's the way I learn. So it's
Maybe we
it's
should
challenging.
explain what DWI is.
It's
Dogs.
DWI is dogs with issues, and that's our term at Clever Canines. Some people use. We don't like using the word aggression or any of that kind of stuff, because just because a dog barks at you does not mean it's aggressive.
Right.
Well,
They just
even
need-
in this environment, I just tell people Lassie doesn't live here. So I mean, because there really are very few Lassies, and Lassie was taught. Lassie wasn't born. Lassie was taught.
Right.
So people have to really think about that. What the energy
Right.
and the effort they put into
Yeah,
a dog.
it's forming who they are.
Yes.
And,
And a lot has to do with the breed of dog as well.
Right.
A Shih Tzu needs a lot different socialization and training than a Border Collie, for instance.
Yeah.
Well, why
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
why don't we take a break?
Okay.
And get one of your dogs in here,
Okay.
and let's do some demonstrations.
Okay, sounds good.
Super.
Here we are, and we have with us Kiva.
Correct.
Okay, and tell us about Kiva. Hi, sweetheart.
Kiva is a 9 turning 10-year-old Border Collie. She came from a friend of mine who actually had her and her full sister, Lucky, and she got a divorce and unfortunately was unable to keep her. She was my first dog that I started working with and started really super interacting with. That was not just a family dog.
But she's your easy dog.
She is a
She's your
very easy dog.
easygoing, good temperament.
She's extremely social. I can put her with any dog pretty much, and she'll
Do anything for
pretty
a
much
treat?
ignore it. She'll pretty much do anything for a treat, exactly, or a ball. She interacts with anybody, anything, kids she loves. She's just all
She's
around
absolutely
easy.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she for 10 years old, she looks pretty good.
Yeah.
She's a little gray, right, Kiva? I've done a lot of stuff with her. She's a CGC evaluation dog at Winnegamie Dog Club.
Do you want to explain what that is? CBG.
CGC means Canine Good Citizen, and all dogs, including mixed breeds, can go for it. It's a dog that it's a dog that basically can prove that it can be in society or in public and be well mannered. It does not have to be perfect by any means, just like her, but they have to be good with other dogs. They have to be good with people, be okay with distraction, be able to walk on a leash.
So those are the
so
kind
on
of
and so
dogs that
forth.
go into area nursing homes,
Correct.
hospitals,
Yep.
visiting
Hospitals.
children, schools.
Hospitals. You have to be
Certified.
therapy certified.
Okay.
Which she is not. She just gets too excited in those kind of environments for older people.
Okay.
But she has done some nursing homes with Winnegamie Dog Club as well. And she has done a play with Kimberly Paper Players, Cheaper by the Dozen. She did that a couple years ago, and we had a lot of fun. And she just overall does a lot of social stuff. I take her on all my trips anywhere I go, and I do pretty much everything I can with her except for going to restaurants.
Okay.
Overall,
So-
she's just a great dog. I use her at work a lot for socializing with other dogs that I'm unsure of because I know her reaction. I can tell her to back up, and she'll do so at my command. We're gonna try some stuff. She might be a little excited in a new environment like this, but we can try at least. She'll do some stuff for me automatically, like that. That was perfect. She knows down. She does have bad hips, so she has a hard time jumping and things like that. She'll put head down. Head down. Good girl. Sit. Up. Can you wave? Yay! Wave. Wave. Good girl. This she might not do. Right. Left. Good girl. She knows that when I do right, that I'm gonna do left too. So she's got that figured out. She will do basic commands such as stay, come, stuff like that. Kiva, stay. Wait. Okay. Good girl.
And you had her doing something before you had the leash on the floor and she went and got the leash for you?
Correct. If I drop something or if I need something, she will go get it for me. Leave it. Kiva, go get my leash. Bring it here, please. Bring it here. Yay, good girl.
All right.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
So overall, she's just a very easy dog. Just so everybody's aware, a border collie is a lot of work. It's not. There's
Oh, yeah.
constant stimulation because of her hips. I don't physically overtax her, but I use her brain constantly. I make her work all the time and think about things. She has to think in order to achieve what she wants. So a border collie is not. This is not a typical easy dog.
No,
Border
yeah.
collies are a lot of work.
Not for the
Absolutely.
person that works 7 days a week.
Correct.
8 to 5. So,
Correct.
All right, well, let's meet your other girl.
Yeah.
Okay, this is Maggie. Maggie is
DWI.
is a DWI, correct. She's a dog with issues. She's a 9-year-old border collie Aussie mix, a mutt basically.
She is beautiful though.
Yeah,
She
she
is.
is.
Coloring in her is
She's got one
gorgeous.
blue eye, one brown eye. It's kind of hard to see maybe on camera, but she does have one of each. Maggie. She was also with somebody. They loved her to pieces. However, unfortunately, they did not socialize her as a puppy, and she became a DWI. She barks at people excessively when they move fast or when they come into a room. She used to be really super forceful with dogs. She would just run up and charge them. She nowadays goes to daycare.
Cool.
Extremely supervised, but she does go to daycare. I do not leave her unattended for 1 minute with a dog that I'm not familiar with.
I think it's also important to mention, Adam, just that because she obviously you've really made a commitment to this dog,
Correct.
tremendous commitment to this dog, and so people need to understand that this is something that you do every day, 7 days a week. You can't stop or let, you can't.
can't let your
back
never
her.
let your guard down.
You can't
No.
because of the issues that she does have. So I think
Correct.
that's important that people
And
understand that.
Unfortunately, there are a lot of dogs out there that are like this or
Mm-hmm.
worse, and some of them are not savable.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. Not everybody is going to have the time or the ability to
Right.
take care of a
Right.
dog like
Right.
this. So
So now,
unfortunately, there
you
is that
wanted
out
to show. We wanted to show that alarm barking that you see.
Correct.
So-
We're going to bring in somebody, and we're going to hopefully she'll prove me right here that she's going to react.
Okay.
And we'll kind of see what she does. And I'm going to kind of show the way we correct it positively. She is not wearing a muzzle. She is wearing what they call a halty collar, which gives me some control. It controls where her head is going and where it's coming. It also can act as a mouthpiece so that I can close her mouth if we came
Right.
into an emergency. So I just want to reinforce that
Okay.
it's not a muzzle.
Okay.
So do you
So
want Pat
yep,
coming in?
That's Meg, right here. Okay, and we just corrected it. I want her to focus on something else other than what's going on. So no, she's just rubbing on me because it itches. I want her to focus on something else other than what
The
she's
person-
exciting.
the
So
person
I need
coming
to
in the
be
room.
more exciting than what's going on over there. So me having treats, me having a ball, me having something else more exciting, me having
Right.
another dog over here that she wants to play with
Right.
is much more exciting than the person that just came
Okay.
in the door.
You're going to show us something else that Maggie does.
Correct. I'll talk a little bit about, a lot of people hear about clicker training. We call it, Clever Canines, we call it shaping a lot, meaning making the dog think for itself. Kiva does this, but Kiva doesn't know the concept of a clicker. Maggie is very good at this. So it's basically making the dog think. I don't have to do anything, and Maggie May will do stuff for me without me saying a word. So basically, she sees the clicker, and she's gonna go, okay, what do I have to do to get Dad to give me a treat? I got it down. So I would click. Now that timing was off, but the click should be immediately. As soon as they do the reaction that you want, the click needs to happen. So
So you're just waiting for a positive.
I am waiting for a positive interaction. The jumping up on me is not a positive interaction.
So you just ignore that behavior.
I'm
and keep
ignoring
looking
that
at her?
behavior, and she usually she'll bark or she'll do something that I want her to do. Maggie May. Let's try an object. I want her to interact with the object. Good girl.
So
Now
as soon
she
as-
knows
Sticking
that
her
there's
head in
something.
there.
She knows that there's something good. She knows that there's something good about this cat box, and she doesn't know what it is. But she's like, well, that cat box keeps giving me treats. Uh-oh, it's good the second time too. But she'll.
Now, if you're just starting with your dog with a clicker, if your dog gives you a sit like that, you could click and
You could
treat.
click and treat every time she sits. So, good girl.
That's pretty interesting how you're getting her to do something. I mean, not too many dogs are going to
Now, I've just trained her to do that
Right.
without ever showing it to her
Right.
or explaining it to her. She does do agility. With her, I use agility for confidence building as well as being in tune with me and what's going on.
Right, right.
So it's a great thing to keep dogs busy with, and there's lots of places that you can train that, and you do not have to compete to do agility. Agility can be just a bonding thing between you and your dog.
And I see you don't do a lot of verbal cues.
I do not. I very seldom do I have to say sit or anything. I use a lot of hand signals. Maggie, I use a lot of hand signals. I never have to say.
Oh,
I
there we
never
go.
have to say anything. I can, like, if I'm in an environment where I can't be talking and I need my dog to lay down or stay, I can use a hand signal, and for the most part, they will do so.
Right,
That's
and
great.
you have to realize you're competing with this whole bowl that I'm holding.
Correct. She is
so-
holding a whole bowl of her breakfast, which is
So-
a competition for
Yeah.
me.
So will you take a treat from me?
Yes.
Huh? Will you take a treat? Oh, what a
Great.
nice girl. Okay.
I think Adam. I mean, what you brought today to the show really
Okay,
is
so this is
impressive.
interaction. Now she just diffused
reinforced
that.
it. Oh.
She reinforced it, but she diffused it. I don't like that.
So obviously you're not going to reward that behavior.
We're not going to reward that behavior. Normally in a situation like that, Maggie May, yay, good girl. Now she's shaping. Now she raised her paw for me.
Right.
Okay.
There's a lot of different ways to mix. What they do here at the shelter is totally different way of mixing dogs than what we do in daycare. They're trying to achieve a different goal and different things. Maybe Joni can touch on that just a little bit.
Sure.
But in our daycare world, we do, in most cases, unless the dog has some severe issues right off the bat, we do off-leash mixes right away because they are going to be off-leash. This is the environment they're going to be in. If they do have some leash reactiveness, for us, that's not a big deal because they are off-leash the entire time.
Right.
And that leash reaction, that is due to the fight and flight syndrome, is it
Correct,
not?
and being contained as well
Okay,
sometimes.
okay.
Well, it's the tension in the leash too.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
That
it's
creates
a lot of it has to do with the owner. For instance, a lot of people, as soon as their dog gets reactive, this is the first thing they do to their dog. When in theory, what I like to call it dead leash, the leash should be loose.
Right.
If you're tight, the dog's going to be tight. The motion. This is just like two foam cups with a wire in between
Yeah.
it. My reaction to her goes right between us. When I pulled on that, you could see her like, "What's wrong?"
Yeah.
And she.
So we
she
need to
reacted.
loosen up.
We need to loosen up. You still want to keep a good firm hold on your leash. You should always have it like this. And then I always use the other hand to hold the leash and control the dog. This is just an emergency here. There are belts and so on and so forth that you can use. When I do a dog mix on leash, usually we stay a distance away. Kiva will pretty much ignore the other dog. That's what she's been trained to do. And she might sniff, but other than that, she doesn't really care about other dogs except for her own pack. The other dog, I'm looking for a dog that is not tense. A dog's tail doesn't tell the whole story, but it does bring in a factor. If the tail is tucked and way low or extremely high and rigid, I'm concerned. I need to really be careful. We can try a dog mix. And
Yep. What we're going to do is we're going to bring in our Dolly.
Okay.
She's just a shelter
She's a
dog.
little dog.
And
Yep.
she's and Susan's going to be bringing her in so that we can see the meat. And then what I'd like you to do, Adam, if you could just maybe describe the body language that you're seeing on Dolly, because as
Sure.
you said, she's not reactive. So
Correct. Okay, if you can see right now, we're going to keep her just a little ways away. If you can see her, she's more excited about what's going on than what's going on than what's going on with Kiva here, which is great. She doesn't.
Yeah.
I'd rather have her be like this and not really care what Kiva's doing than be focused. Now, if she came in and her tail was rigid and her ears were straight forward and she was just focused
all about
like
bullet,
this,
yeah.
I would be worried.
Sure.
And then I would probably not do an off-leash mix.
Okay.
If we do an off-leash with her, I think she's probably going to go cruising.
Yeah.
So we're not going to do that. But like if I release Kiva, can you please go say hi? Kiva won't even do it right now.
Okay.
So this is she's just purely interested.
I just want to. I don't like her pulling so hard.
Yeah.
So, if we could. Yeah. There we go. Okay. Let's give her some slack. I'm okay
Let's
with
let her.
off
let her-
Let's let her off leash.
Yeah.
That's fine with me. I just
Yeah.
didn't know what
She's looking more for food than anything.
All the different smells.
Yeah, she's liking this. So, what do you think of this reaction?
I would be okay with this
Yeah.
in a dog park, in a doggy daycare situation. She would pass. I wouldn't call her over social by any means with other dogs. She's okay with the situation.
Yeah.
Now she might react a little bit different when you throw in a couple more dogs, so on and so forth. Some dogs do great with 5 dogs. Some dogs could do okay with 20. It depends on the situation. When you go to a dog park, the first thing you do usually is you walk in the gate, and all of a sudden, a bunch of dogs come running up to your dog and practically pile over your dog. Dogs don't like that. It's a bad thing to have happen. It just causes stress, and it could, in theory, cause a fight in the end with the wrong dogs. It's called mobbing. We don't want that.
Yeah.
So if you can, try to keep a clear area around your dog when you're bringing your dog into a dog park.
How do you do that, though, if everybody's dog is rushing in?
If there's a bunch of dogs at the gate, I don't go in. we stay away. We wait till everybody kind of clears or until something else more interesting happens away and then walk in. Let the dogs meet through the gate. Don't just push your dog through the door. That doesn't work.
Right.
That causes problems. We don't want to force anything like we had talked before. It should be at the dog's will, especially on that kind of stuff. In a doggy daycare situation, most places the staff is extremely trained. They know what to look for before it actually happens. When we watch dogs in daycare, we watch for tails, dogs getting more assertive, dogs chasing other dogs that don't want to be chased, so on and so forth.
Do you ever see resource guarding, like toys?
We do
food?
see some resource guarding. Dogs that we know are resource guarders, if they're resource guarding over balls, we get balls out before we even go
Right,
out there
okay.
and are proactive. There are dogs that are actually resource guarders of water bowls. We try to either put 2 water bowls out or eliminate that for a short period of time so that they can actually play without having to worry about the water. We do pools that eliminates that sometimes. They can play in the pool, and it's a fair game for everybody. There's lots of pools, lots of time for that. So that's one way that we cope with that. But dog parks, daycare is like I said, it's a supervised thing, and it's much safer
And
than a dog
trained
park.
supervision,
And I understand not everybody can afford daycare, but it is a good socialization for your dog
Right.
versus most situations for a dog park.
Yeah, and I think that's important to remember that a dog park really isn't the place to socialize your dog. I would
Correct.
not recommend that. I mean, that's a dog park is, they can be off leash, they can exercise.
It's good exercise.
But it's not a good place to socialize.
Correct.
Because you don't have the control.
Yes.
So that's a good point, and I'm glad you brought that up. So
And this is a great interaction. We're happy
Yeah,
with this.
they're not fighting over the treats, they're taking turns.
And
they're
Dolly,
being-
in this situation, if she did this in a daycare situation, we would introduce a few more dogs
Yeah.
and see how she does.
Yeah.
So you
but-
don't introduce one dog and then, okay, everybody
and
else
then
out.
everybody,
You
no.
kind of gradually add one.
We do it
another.
very slowly. Usually we do 1, 3, 5, 10, and depends on the size of the group. and how
what
the dog
is the
comfortable.
biggest group you can have that you feel comfortable with?
It depends on the amount of people.
Yeah.
We have a ratio that we like to keep. It kind of depends. Sometimes we can have 5 dogs out in a group, and that's plenty. And there's other times, depending on what day it is and what group it is and the weather and the moon, we could have 30 in a group that we never have a problem with.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, Joni, I think we covered a lot today. Of course, that 30 minutes always goes really fast. And Adam, we want to thank you for being with us today.
No problem.
And bringing Kiva and Maggie and giving us some tips on socializing our dogs and the difference between doggy daycare and taking your dog to the dog park. And so we're hoping that if anybody has any questions, they'll contact the Oshkosh Area Humane Society. But until next time, happy tales to you.